I just wanted to come on here and talk to you today about families and relationships, because I've been thinking about this a lot. And our children, they learn everything from us, everything. And whether or not they grow up to mirror exactly what they saw in their childhood or not doesn't matter, because it's buried in there. So it's in them. But if there is a family dynamic that is quite stressful, maybe a bit unloving, whether or not you recognize it to be unloving or not, they will see if the love is not there. They will see the arguing, they will see the lack of affection, the lack of intimacy, they will see the conversations and what those conversations revolve around. And if they revolve around shared interests, or if they revolve around to-do lists and disappointments and frustrations and resentment, children see it. And it's buried into their subconscious. It affects them emotionally and mentally. And how this will play out in them, it can happen in a number of ways. So children can develop behavioral issues, they can develop mental health issues, they can develop chronic conditions like IBS or hormone imbalances, depression, eating disorders, PTSD, all of this from how parents choose to live their lives. And there's this idea that a family should stay together no matter what. And if the family belongs together, I agree, work through the challenges, work through the difficulty, because if you have a strong foundation, you'll come out on the other side and the love will shine through the difficult times because you have a strong foundation. But a family doesn't necessarily need to be together in the same home to remain a family. And if you have two unhappy parents living in the house, predominantly unhappy living in the house, children see that. And this idea of two unhappy parents together is better than two happy parents apart is a belief system that instills a lot of fear in adults and in parents. That because they think that there are risk factors associated with breaking up a family or creating a different type of family, a binuclear family, a family with two homes. We're told, we believe, that risk factors for our children increase when you split a family up. And this is simply not true. There's so much involved around the dynamics of a family staying together or a family deciding to have two homes. And the fear of the risk factors involved for our children, but also is one of the reasons why a lot of families stay together, but also finances, right? So we're tied to the idea that we should remain living the lives that we lived while together when we're apart. And we just need to forget about that, right? We just need to forget about that. And if you're unhappy in your home, and if you wake up and you can't breathe, and if you go to bed tonight and you're unhappy and you're not being fulfilled and you're giving too much and not receiving, and you become resentful of your partner, you become resentful of the life that you're living, and you live with all of this anger buried within you that will manifest in some sort of chronic illness eventually. If that's how you're living, then finances don't matter, right? So when we split, we will find a way to work it out financially. If one parent gets more financially than the other, who cares? Focus on the love that you're going to give to the child. Your lifestyle will change in so many ways. So why do we expect that it needs to stay the same financially? Why do we expect that we need to maintain a certain lifestyle that we had while we were with our partner? So finances is one of the reasons why we stay, and it's also one of the reasons why the children suffer. Because when two adults decide to dissolve a marriage and they can't figure out the financial side of the marriage, that's when the arguing begins. Because whatever's happened, betrayal, addiction, just falling out of love, toxic relationships, codependent relationships, whatever happened inside that marriage, inside that relationship, once you dissolve that marriage and that relationship, there will still be a love for that person because they are the father or mother of your children. And if that love isn't there immediately, that's okay. But it's there. And that is what we need to focus on nurturing, because two parents apart is just as good as two parents together if the two parents apart can live lovingly and kindly and graciously with each other to support their children. So these fears around these belief systems that two unhappy parents together is better than two happy parents apart are so restrictive and prevent us from living a fulfilling life, a life of purpose and a life of meaning and a life of happiness, and showing our children that we don't need to be afraid, showing our children that love happens in so many different ways. And so here's just a quick story to sort of end this video. So my girls, I have two girls, they're 7 and 5, 16 months apart, and I met their dad when I was 23. I was living in LA. I just moved to LA. We met on set. He's an actor. I was in production. We spent 3 weeks together, and we decided this was it, right? So we had a connection. And then he came back to London for 4 months, and we corresponded through email and phone calls. And then when he came back, everything moved very quickly. And we had developed a really strong friendship while he was in London for those 4 months. And when he came back, maybe that's what our relationship was meant to be. But we pursued the romantic relationship. We ended up eloping to Vegas and getting married. We ended up moving back to London. We had challenges from day one, pretty intense challenges, but we always pushed through those. We separated many times. At one point, we separated for 2 years, but we found our way back together, obviously because we were meant to have children together. And we could never find in our relationship a moment where we metaphorically sat down and felt, this is right. Everything about this is right. And eventually, that crept up and exploded to where we realized we needed to move on. And so we did. It was hard. It was scary. There was a lot of anger involved. But the anger for that short amount of time, accepting the truth of what our relationship was, compared to the anger and the resentment and the frustration that we were bringing to each other and to our family dynamic, so much more valuable to learn from, right? So that anger, that short-term anger and fear from breaking up a marriage was worth it. And we came out on the other side, and we're friends. We're great friends. We talk every day because we put the children first. We accepted the truth of our relationship. We didn't argue over finances. I don't expect to live the life that I was living with him while I was married to him, and he can't expect to live the life that he was living while he was married to me, right? Emotionally, mentally, and financially. So we need to give that up. And so just for example, he was away for 2 weeks filming, and so I had the girls, and he has a cat, and his mom was staying at his for a week while he was away, and the girls and I would go pick her up and take her out for lunch, and she'd come over and she'd hang out with the girls, and then when she left, we went to his house, and we even spent the night one night so we could be there to take care of the cat. So this isn't a broken family, right? this is just a redesigned family. And you can design your relationship, you can design your family however you want to when you put the fear aside. And so I just wanted to share that with you because I talk to so many women who are struggling in their marriage, really, truly struggling. Just yesterday, I was speaking with a woman who was crying to me because she knows she needs to leave, but she's scared because of what it means for her children, and she's scared what it means financially. You determine what dissolving a marriage means for your children. You are in control of that. You go deep into your heart and you figure that out. And financially, you just have to give that one up. Everything will work out if you're willing to walk into a space of uncertainty, a space of change, and embrace that. That's what I wanted to share with you, right? So ultimately, our children see everything, and they hear everything, and we are mirrors, and they will reflect back to us what they are seeing. So let's show them love and kindness and happiness, and not show them codependence and victimhood and martyrdom. And let's do that. Thanks for watching.